first time since the 2020 NFL season, the Houston Texans are not the first team eliminated from playoff contention. That dishonor this year goes to the Carolina Panthers. And oh boy, do we have a lot to talk about today, don't we? So we're going to start our story with the end of the 2022 NFL season. Matt Rule had been fired from Carolina. He was absolutely gone. Steve Wilkes was the interim head coach, but he was not given the chance to remain with the team as the head coach. So they start their head coaching search, and they look wide and far. Taking a look at the searching options, they didn't have a lot because Carolina was not a very intriguing job. But one broken man who was looking to start new, and he was looking for a brand new head start to work with a quarterback that he wants to work with, was brought in the name of Frank Reich. This man had success in Indianapolis under his first couple years with Luck, but then Luck ends up retiring and he coaches a quarterback carousel. So Reich was looking for some stability in a team that was going to look for their long-term quarterback in the draft. So Frank Reich had his mind set on a quarterback, and let's just say when Carolina traded up for the number 1 overall pick, they did not go for it. The quarterback Frank Reich wanted because David Tepper said, you know what, the owner of the Panthers, I'm the owner, I can do what I want, and we're taking Bryce Young. But Frank Reich, he knew better, and he did not want Bryce Young. He wanted C.J. Stroud, but that was the first slip-up of the season. The Panthers bringing in Frank Reich to work with a quarterback he wants to work with, and then ending up going with a quarterback that he does not want to work with. Well, not that he didn't want to work with, but not his first choice candidate when they had the number 1 overall pick. Insult to injury on this one, they gave a king's ransom to Chicago, so they are tanking this year, not for themselves, but for the Chicago Bears. Carolina, what have you done? Now, at this point in training camp, there was some concerns coming out of Bryce Young, but nothing really bad, nothing like game-breakingly bad. So hopes were still high in Carolina. They thought maybe they'd be in contention for the AFC South, and I was even one of those too. I mean, I thought Carolina, if things panned out right, they could have very well been a playoff contender in the NFC South because, well, the NFC South was weak this year. It was Atlanta, Tampa Bay, New Orleans, and Carolina. None of these teams at this point are over 500 except for the Falcons, who I believe are at 500 right now. So Carolina had a chance and hopes were high. But then the play calling did not help Bryce Young, and there was a whole lot of meddling throughout the season. Carolina I can't even dig into you guys because it was just a bad season in general for y'all. But, look, bright side of the end of the tunnel here, looking ahead, yeah, the next couple years are going to suck. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you really need to trade Brian Burns. You got to trade all of your high-value players right now. Stockpile picks, because these next couple years are going to suck because you do not have your first rounder this year. But next year, you will have your first rounder, and you'll be able to start building a roster around Bryce Young. The biggest problem is he's still only going to have a couple years on his rookie scale contract, but that is the bright side. You have time to make things happen, and you could very well turn the ship around in about 2-3 years' time. So Carolina, tough loss for you, tough season for you this year, but look forward to the next 5 years. These are going to be the next pivotal 5 years for your franchise.